panic. There's a humongous flame. And then I took those bad boys off and I came back and I literally was carving all the bird stuff because the inside was fantastic. But it was moments before the guests were coming back from the concerts.
Yeah.
And then poured that sauce on there, chopped those babies up, and it looks perfect. Quick on your feet. What's the solution? We're not going to quit and say, I don't have steaks for you, or I got to
Yeah.
go buy some other meat, or you got to wait like 40 minutes for me to cook something else. I'm going to make this work.
Welcome back to Just 15 Minutes, the space where leaders share the real practices that keep them steady under pressure. My name is Eric Bomyea, and today I'm joined by Ava Malazian. Welcome, Ava.
Thank you.
Ava, would you like to join me for a brief drop-in practice before we get into our conversation?
I would love that.
All right. You know that you work with your hands a lot, so we can bring our hands together, rub them together to generate a little heat, and then place that heat at the heart, and we'll take 3 breaths together. In through the nose, feeling the chest. Hit the hands and let it out with a little sigh. 2 more in through the nose. Let it out. Last one in and out. And then allowing the hands to gently fall down, and then allowing the eyes to come back into the space. And it's from here that we'll begin. So, Ava, you are a personal chef, a retreat chef, and you've worked in many kitchens throughout your career. And one of the phrases that I've been thinking about is, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. With that understanding that kitchens can be really high pressure, high intensity situations. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot to keep track of. And so I'm curious, throughout your career, can you name a few big moments in the kitchen and talk about how you were able to handle that pressure and keep yourself steady?
Well, you know about pivoting, but then the thing is, like, if you put the word shit in front of it, it's shivit. So it's something that makes me giggle. And there's a lot of shivit moments that happen in the kitchen. So no, you might have, like, for instance, I think I was in Joshua Tree and the group was coming back earlier and then there were steaks on the grills, but the steaks were huge ribeyes and there was like 17 people, but it was really far away. And then the main kitchen had all the food going, but then I was also setting the tables on my own solo. And so it's that drop-in moment where like, it's like shivit or no one's coming. It's just you. And we're going to pull this off and we're going to
Mm.
compose ourselves. So what I found is like, when things are moving fast, which could also be the mind, but also the time frame, the trick is to go slow within the rush. And so I drop in and I get actually more focused. I remember walking with my tongs outside to the ribeyes, and I'm like, this is the first time in my life I was like, damn, I am a badass. And just having that composure. And so when the guests come, because part of serving food is like I feel like, it's warm, it's nurturing. So if the chef or the person, the hostess is looking like discombobulated and stressed out, that's like a bad sign. So yeah, just slowing down, knowing the task in your mind, but not in a rushed way.
Yeah.
And then when the guests come, and it's not even performance, it's a level of like mastery and wanting to be of service.
And I can see that. So in that example, Joshua Tree, there are 3 locations that you need to be in. You're in the main kitchen, you're at the table setting space, and you also have to go flip those giant steaks. And it would be really easy for the mind to teleport to the grill, to say, I need to be at the grill. And so my mind is now rushing to the grill, but my body is still here setting the tables. And so in that moment, you had a choice. You said, I could continue to teleport my mind, or I could bring it back here. I could ground myself in this moment, and then I can walk mindfully to the grill to get the steaks with your tongs as a badass, right? And it doesn't mean that you're not in a fast moving pace. The body can be moving quickly, but you're still here in the moment.
100%. I feel like it's just this Zen act because if I was like what you said here, but then I needed to be there, I probably would have forgotten a tong or a towel or the spray because I'm like, so like, but instead of when I slow down, it's like, okay, this, and this, and it's slow. This, and this is needed. now I'm fully present, going there, knowing the timing of this, and then when I and being there with the stakes, you know, and then when I move back, when I move back, it almost becomes graceful because I'm going so slow, and because what you said, the presence is so big that the capacity for the brain to be so present that it's not forgetting anything, so it's so on point.
Yeah. And two things right now. So there's the structure of being a chef, of being in the kitchen. It's a lot of time management, it's a lot of logistics. But then you also just said grace, moving with
Mhm.
grace. So what does that combination of things look like for you of holding the logical and also flowing with the grace?
It's a really it's a drop in. I really drop in all the way down. So I'm fully embodied in the moment. So the mind, even though it has tasks, it's not actually running the show. So it's more open, the channel, and the body is making the movements. And that's how you're able to move in a graceful way and not in a rushed way because you haven't left your center.
Yeah. And these feel like really beautiful lessons and valuable life skills. It has helped you to manage really complex events, really complex meals in kitchen environments. How have those skills also been able to be transferred into your personal life?
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. I would say that the kitchen has been my greatest teacher, like a spiritual teacher, presence and embodied teacher. So I'm fortunate enough to be daily trained, but it could be for the listeners, whatever career you have. But for me in the kitchen, um, I'm being trained daily to be hyper present and aware and slow down. So now when I perform things outside of the kitchen, that consciousness and those orientations have become more solidified and not a habit, but like a muscle memory that is operating. And I'm so grateful.
Curious. So with the two kind of playing together, has there been a moment in the kitchen, let's say that like things didn't go as planned? And like what happened? How did you bring yourself back? What was the outcome?
I feel very fortunate that I would say that because my career is so important to me that it's not a reality. There's always shivets, but the messing up is not a reality. So
Yeah.
there was another time I was in Coachella cooking for a group, and I bought these really beautiful steaks, and they were with a chimichurri sauce. But I was inside the kitchen, and they were outside the grill, and I opened the top, and it was like a flame. And thank God,
Amazing.
one of my daughters is a fire woman, so I'm like, well, I come from a lineage of like, not that I've, but like, I'm like, okay, this is like not, panic. There's a humongous flame. And then I took those bad boys off and I came back and I literally was carving all the bird stuff because the inside was like fantastic. But it was moments before the guests were coming back from the concerts.
Yeah.
And then poured that sauce on there, chopped those babies up, and they looked perfect. But I threw away and I had to discard of the evidence of all the charred stuff. Quick on your feet. Like, what's the solution? We're not like gonna quit and say, like, I don't have steaks for you, or I gotta
Yeah.
go buy some other meat, or you gotta wait like 40 minutes for me to cook something else. It's like, I'm gonna make this work.
Yeah. A shivot is a dropping of attachment,
Mm.
right? Like there could have been an expectation of how beautiful those steaks were going to be. And in that moment of opening up the grill, flames, burnt ends, you're like, well, time to shiv it. That image that I had of what these steaks could have been is now different. And I'm going to use my presence, my humor, my grace to make the best of it. And that constant, right, shiveting, that constant optimism of things aren't always as we plan them to be.
I love that, and it's happens so much in life, and I do feel resistance, the suffering comes from resistance, and so, yeah, you can have a vision of something, and it might not be what you want, but then if it doesn't work out the way you want it, you can't just be like, "Okay, like, things aren't working for me." It's like, "No, in this moment, we're gonna find a solution." The universe is always working in creative ways, so there's always a creative solution. Like you said, it might not be what yours.
Yeah, but it's going to be beautiful.
I
And
got
it's good.
compliments on those sticks too.
Oh, I can imagine. I've eaten your food. I could absolutely imagine. Yeah. And like the humor too. As you were telling that story, you came alive with energy that was like, "Yeah, this is what happened." And you, like, called in your daughter, and you were like, "Well, this is what we're doing." There's just such positivity, light, and humor
Girl.
in what it is that you do and bring. How how do you cultivate that?
Well, A, I just believe in magic. That's number one. These little fingertips, everyone has magic. But the other thing is in life, I made a choice. It's like you can either laugh or cry. There's plenty of reasons for both. And I remember telling my daughters, I'm like, I just want to spend the rest of my years laughing. So
Mhm,
I really have made my point of attraction in these situation where, I mean, you can get serious too, but like where can I find some humor or lightness or joy in the situation?
mhm.
I committed to that.
It's really beautiful. And if there is somebody watching, listening,
Mhm.
that is feeling like they're in a constant rush, that they don't have time, that there's a lot of demands on them right now, what's some advice that you would give to them to help them to see magic, to help them to be present?
The power really is in the moment and within yourself. And sometimes even drop in like in the shower, we'll wash things off. And I'll say like the world right now is operating all around me. People are saying, doing things, but I'm just in this moment washing things off. Like I can't control anything, but being in this moment and actually when I let go of everything, the moment actually gets really quiet. Yeah. So it's a practice of reminding yourself like the world is busy and then your mind can be busy, but like if you really drop in, it's actually yeah, it's there's stillness.
Yeah. It's it's a let go and be here. So that's a beautiful practice, kind of washing away of things and the daily reminder. Is there any other practices that you have, daily practices or weekly practices that just kind of help you be you?
I would say I mean, there's quite a few, but a lot of times, living in LA, we're in the car a lot over here. So I actually use the time in the car for replugging into myself. You'll imagine like a rainbow, could be whatever anyone wants, but like a rainbow or a thread in the car, and it's coming back into my heart.
Mm,
So again, I'm in the traffic and it's busy, but I'm like looping back into myself. And it's like, it's actually, it's a practice while I'm driving and it actually feels really good. And I also set an intention. There's quite a few, but the one I is like today in every way, how can I be of so much love show up with so much love, that like, it's palpable. And so I'll sit in the car while I'm threading and I'll think about like, I don't know, a moment like even the maid at work, she smiled at me and she paused. And there was an exchange. A thing like, at the market, somebody maybe let me go in line before them and then they paused and then there was like a God bless you. Like the exchange. So then I start to remember that attention of like how many times like the love was reflected back to me. It was outpouring it, but then the reflection back. So then you start to fill your cup so you don't feel so drained. And
mm.
then you actually realize you're being magical all day.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today.
Just look like a
For
little parrot and heart wings on our
Yeah.
hands.
And we'll close out this space together with the gesture of reverence. Let's do fairy heart hands 'cause this is
Yes.
lovely. It is with deep appreciation and gratitude. I thank all of the teachers, guides, mentors that came before us that led us here to this moment. May our hearts continue to project out love and positivity to others so that we can receive it in return. Thank you so much.